Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone, and we're going to do a whole bunch more in our election series. We're getting close to Election Day. I'm super excited. But before we do that, we'll touch base with Mayor Scott Galvin. Welcome, Scott.
Hey, thanks, Samantha. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
It's raining out there, but I think we need a little bit of water, so I'm okay with that, I guess.
Me too. Yep.
Excellent.
At least
So
it's not the weekend, right? That's when we usually get hit with the rain, but this is
that's right.
get it out of our system.
I'll take it now. I know the race was last week, the Monster Dash, and all kinds of things coming up. So we'll take it now instead of on Halloween Parade Day.
That's right.
Great. So there's a lot going on. A couple of things, and one of them is the I'm gonna just make sure I get this name right. We talked about it. I mentioned it last time, but since you're here this time, candidate conversations with city leaders that's happening at the St. John's Baptist Church on the 26th. And I didn't know if you had any, sort of background or had any idea of what kinds of topics and things you'll be talking about, or it'll just be driven by the audience.
No, I mean, this is St. John's the Baptist reached out to us and other community elected officials and community members, and this was back in August, and they wanted to get together and have a forum, and we said sure. So they're planning it. We have nothing as far as organization to do with it, but it should be nice night. It's next Thursday, so 26th, right?
Yeah, a week from Thursday, I think.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to it.
Good. And I know we have the next mayoral forum that's coming up on the 24th. So that's going to be a busy, good week.
Yes.
And this probably won't air beforehand, or maybe it'll be a few hours before, but CPAC's forum on school committee candidates is on the 17th.
Tomorrow night. Yeah. So the city council has a meeting, and I'll be at the city council. We'll making a presentation on the PFAS special permit that we've filed for in front of the city council, and also to give the councilors an update on the progress we've made with the SRF funding application. And that's something that we've been working with DEP for quite a while, and happy to announce we did a while ago that we did get the funding authorized, and it'll really help in the construction of the building and to lower the rates that we'll be getting.
That's fantastic. And somebody sent me a picture today. It made me smile, of a dumpster outside the Plimpton School. Now, that dumpster may have always been there. I don't know if it was new, but it gave me a little bit of an inkling. Hey, maybe we're cleaning out the inside for demolition. So I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, that's moving right along. They did the asbestos abatement. The windows have been taken out. The building was cleaned out. DPW did a great job cleaning. They cleaned it out, moved a lot of the documents up to the old Wyman School, some of the documents that we needed to retain to satisfy the Secretary of State's requirements on keeping documents and whatnot. So that's been done, making great progress again with the demolition. And we met on site to discuss a couple change orders. So it's really just going to be, there'll be nothing left on the site in a couple of weeks, and then we'll start building up again. And I think it's very gratifying for the neighbors. They're very excited about it. And, next spring they'll have a nice green space there.
I love it. That's just awesome news. I know people are really excited to see that progress. It's been a long time coming. So great to see that. The picture made me smile. I was glad to see that. So we've got an appliance and electronics recycling event coming up on the 21st. So that's coming up later on this week, is it? I know my dates, but the 21st, whenever that is, I wanted to make sure people knew about that's happening. And it's actually benefits the Council of Social Concern. So
it does, yeah.
It's a discounted rate off of if you were to sort of arrange for pickup of your electronic goods at home, but also it benefits a great cause. So that's a great service. And again, I know that's Paul and Laurie Madero started that years ago, and they've continued it. And they partner up with different charities and organizations in the city and raise money for them. So it's been a great run for them with that. And it's a good service for residents getting rid of cleaning up their basements and stuff. And they always seem to have a great crowd and raise quite a bit of money. So kudos to them. And it's great service for the city. I should probably use it. I went to go down and get some Halloween decorations, and I was climbing over quite a mess in my basement. And usually my husband's ahead of me, and he must move the bins forward for me. I didn't realize that he did that all the time. So I didn't warn him I was going down this year. So they were all the way in the back. It was entertaining, to say the least, if anybody had been observing me climbing over bins.
Well, you got it anyway.
But I did, well, I got some of it anyways. I got what I needed in the moment. Yep. So excellent. Well, thanks as always for joining me, Scott. Anything quick you want to mention before we go to our other guests?
What do we say? Nope, it's just tomorrow night is an important night for the remediation of the PFAS, and we're making great strides in that. And it's been, I mean, the planning process is going pretty smoothly. Then again, you mentioned the recycling. The following week is the shredded. That's what we do twice a year, so that'll be a good event. And I know Charlie's always down there, Joe's down there, so there's a lot of helping hands, and it's always a busy day. So looking forward to that, and I think that's it. Yeah, so
that's great, awesome. Well, we'll see you next week. Next up, welcome Chuck Viola.
Hi, Samantha. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, it's so great to get an update of what's happening in Ward 7. And we spoke, oh gosh, many moons ago, it feels like at this point, kind of got an update of what was happening in Ward 7. The election is coming up. So wanted to just touch base with you. And, you're finishing up your first term, and kind of touch base with what you've, learned this last couple of years as we go into a new election cycle.
Sure. So we've talked about in the past about the Cambridge Road, Bedford Road intersection, which is going to be fixed by the state, which is on the TIP program. I believe it's still in the works to have that finally completed by 2026. We're working on the remediation of the flooding down the Four Corners, which would be the Shaker Glen Wetland Stream Restoration Project, which we got the $2 million from the Industrialplex Council, which was another great thing that we've done. And one of the biggest issues facing Ward 7 right now, well, we get two big issues. Number one, traffic as always, which is across the whole city. And number two, we also have a daycare center that's possibly coming in at the top of Cambridge Road, right across from Day Circle, which is going to cause a lot of issues with traffic. And there's a lot of neighbors' concerns over that as well.
Let's talk a little bit about that. So has the hearing already happened for that one, or is that upcoming that people should, if they're interested, come and listen in on?
Yep, the hearings for that have already started. I've actually requested a peer review study of the traffic, which the proponents developer, their traffic study person said, which I'd like to see what hours from the city's says.
Yeah, excellent. Well, it's always good to watch that stuff, because there will certainly be busy times for drop off and pickup anyways, if no other times, which probably align to a lot of the regular commuter traffic.
Expecting there's going to be close to 600 vehicles coming and going there daily. So that's going to cause a lot of traffic and concerns in the area.
Yeah, that's a big daycare center.
It is. It's about students.
Yeah. So traffic was one. What was the other?
One we have now also is we have possibly another big development coming in Ward 7 off of Russell Street, where there's a developer proposing another townhouse development, which would abut the Battle Road right off of Russell Street. So working with them, hopefully I'd like to see single family homes go in there, because we already have way too much development going on. I'm a big opponent of overdevelopment, and we need to keep our green space. So we need smart development.
Yeah. It's always a fine balance that we need to do. Serving on city council is hard work, and it's busy. And I know you were excited about that and signed up for that. But looking back on the last couple of years, what motivates you to put your hat in the ring to be reelected?
Both myself, the council, we've collaborated on a lot of great projects, and I want to continue working with them to do more for the community. Also, there's projects that I'd like to work on in Ward 7 itself this upcoming next term, if I should be reelected.
So tell us about one or two of those. I know you talked about a couple of the very long-term infrastructure projects that are happening. Anything else that is top of mind?
I'd like to work on some of the crosswalk areas that we do have in Ward 7, that I do have some mitigation funding which we did find. There's about $100,000 which was found that a developer finally paid to the city. Use that for maybe some of the pedestrian actuated crosswalks, which I know they get the motorist attention more so if somebody's driving distracted. And then also I'd like to see something happen at the Taki School site, which the historic battle road's right there. And I know I've talked to a couple of people that they'd like to bring back the reenactors back to that area as well.
Well, I think, my husband is a Civil War reenactor, so we are, I'm big on historical reenactments. They're super fun. So that's awesome. In terms of the sort of, you're out talking to folks and you're out meeting with folks and doing things. I know I also see you attend a lot of the community activities and events, which is really great. And I know I'm always appreciative when I see our city councilors out and about in the city talking with folks. When you look back at the last couple of years, obviously some of the challenges and the opportunities are things you knew going in, but anything surprise you as you've, now been looking back on this last term?
No, nothing really surprises me. Just I knew it was going to be a lot of hard work and a lot of time taken away from my personal life when you get into politics and city government, but I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to give back to the community as a public servant, even in my daily life where I'm a corrections officer at the Middlesex Sheriff's Office. Giving back to the community is something that I love to do, and I want to continue doing it because over the past 2 years, we have accomplished a lot together.
Excellent. Well, before I let you go and bring our next guest on, anything else you'd like voters to know?
That I respectfully request your vote on November 7th so that we continue to make Ward 7 the best place to live, work, and raise a family. And I continue to tackle our most pressing issues head on. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Next up, we have Joe Demers, who is a candidate for re-election in Ward 4. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a little while, so I'm glad we're connecting. I would really, you have been on city council and for some time now. In this last term, what's sort of been some of the bigger things that you've tackled for residents in your ward?
I've been on the council this is my first full term. So really learning to get my feet wet in the system because it was different than what I had done before, having worked as a staffer in the legislature, but then also on the school committee for 6 years. Just finding out what the ward's concerns are and what was coming up. And we did have the proposed development of a life sciences facility that wanted to go in at the old parking lot of the movie theater. That due to the developers financing falling through and unanticipated costs that arose, that didn't go through. So I'm constantly being vigilant and speaking with Showcase Cinemas just to make sure that if they're planning on any type of move out of their facility or to subdivide again, that I'm there right there from the get-go on any proposals to make sure that the neighbors' voices and concerns are heard. One of the other major things in this term that I've been dealing with a lot, especially this year, has been flooding. Woburn's infrastructure is old, being a New England town and being, years and years and years with the weather changing. Especially, we had the most 50 to 100-year storms in Massachusetts history this year based on rainfall. So we had a lot of rain. So I've had a lot of flooding issues that I've been working on. And, unfortunately, I wish there was something that we could do overnight to help out everybody address these issues, but they're long-term issues that I'm going to continue to have attention on and make sure that the neighbor's quality of life is, restored, but then also protected in the future.
Excellent. So, you've been obviously involved in Woburn governments for many years and all the different capacities that you mentioned. When you think about the role of city council compared to some of the other things that you've done before, you talked about sort of this first term was a great opportunity to learn about some of those day-to-day issues. It's probably, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, maybe not so much from the legislative might have been as much day-to-day, but I imagine school committee probably didn't have the same kind of daily demands that city council has. What motivates you to want to continue in service in this way? Because it is a lot of work.
Sure, it is a lot of work. When I was on this, and I'll be frank about this. When I was on the school committee, I probably over that time frame of 6 years that I was on there, I probably only received 10, 12 emails and probably about 4 or 5 phone calls on specific issues. And I think when you're on the city council, there's a lot more phone calls, a lot more emails. There's a lot more issues that impact a lot more people rather than, the school issues. Sometimes it tends to be centric to parents and folks with families or concerned grandparents. And then, when I was on there, I wasn't married. I don't have kids. And I was just trying to do my best to make sure that our schools are moving forward so that when I do have a family, that our schools are in the best position that they are. But the city council, it could be anything from flooding to traffic to a development that the neighborhood's concerned with. It could be a tree branch that fell from a city-owned tree onto a private property that needs to be taken care of. It could be ordinance issues or building code violations or public health. So there's a lot of issues, and it's a wide range of things that aldermen have to do, or city councilors, I should say, have to deal with. But it's a challenge that I enjoy meeting and reaching out to folks and hearing what the neighbors are concerned about and seeing what I can do. My little small effort, to help them in the overall big picture of what makes Woburn work.
Well, I appreciate all the folks who service our city like you do. It is a lot of work, and it is very varied. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's so important. As you look back at the relationships with, departments within the city and other things, obviously you've had some of those from the legislative work that you did in the school committee work, but
Sure.
I imagine there's some departments you're interacting with now much more often than perhaps you did before.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about what that looks like and
Well,
how
I would have to say that the two departments that I'm constantly either in communication with on the phone, via email, via the report of concern feature on the city's website are probably the DPW and the inspectional services, the building commissioner's office, because there's always concerns with with citizens have when it comes to roads being paved or reconstructed, or oh wait, maybe they might have an idea about how they think an intersection can work better, and we'll take a look at that. But constantly in contact, especially with the flooding, with Superintendent Jay Duran, and I reach out to Assistant Superintendent Lenny Burnham a lot on issues, and then also Commissioner Quinn. I think it's been a great resource to help out constituents when they might have building code questions, might have ordinance questions, zoning issues, and so forth. So I think that's primarily the primary function that I've been dealing with, responding to constituent concerns.
That's great. Anything else you'd like voters to know as we get very close to election day?
Yeah, no, I just want to let everybody know that I am a candidate. There was some cause for concern a few weeks back where we were taking care of some procedural paperwork moving in a committee, and it was thought and rumored around town while I was away that I may not be running for re-election, but I am. I thank the voters of Wood for the opportunity thus far to serve on the city council. Fortunately, and I hope it's an attestament to the work I've been doing. I do not have a opponent this fall, but I still will do my best to earn everybody's vote. And in the coming term, I plan on trying to be a little bit more out in the community, but then also reaching out to offer possible office hours to folks who may want to come in and discuss. That way, it's not necessarily something that is on a Facebook group discussion or anything like that, but you have an active face and an active partner in the community and your alderman.
Thank you so much for joining me. It was good to catch up and squash those rumors.
It's great to see you too, Samantha, and wishing you the very best and full health.
Thank you. My eyebrows are starting to grow back. So, we're getting to the other side of the worst part. So
you look great and keep fighting.
Yeah, thank you. I'm getting used to the bald head. I don't know what I'm doing when the hair grows back.
It looks great. I might be heading there soon.
Yeah, my husband and I share this now. So it's great. Thank you for joining us. And Woburn, as always, please continue to take good care of each other and get out there on election day.